Hello guys, and welcome to a tutorial on how to install RetroPie on a Raspberry Pi. One of these things. Awesome little gadget, 25 to 35 pound, places like Matlin, eBay, always handy. 8 gig memory card, SD card. Usually class 4 and above. I'm using an 8 gig, so I've got enough room to store the ROMs on. USB controller. Pick these up anywhere. Can't remember where I got this thing from. I think it was from Boot Sale for like 50p. Coming well handy. You're going to need it for your RetroPie. And we'll show you how to configure that later. Also how to save states, load states, and to exit out the emulator so you haven't got to turn the Raspberry off and on every time you want to change game. Ethernet cable. Now you're going to need to connect your Raspberry to the hub to update it or anything else. But there's another way I will show you. If you've got a laptop, you can bypass that and bridge the connection. So obviously you can do your Raspberry next to your telly if your hub's in another room. Right, if you screw up or you need your memory card back, format it in one of these, digital camera. You can't format it through Windows because it partitions the memory card and hides it. So you're only left with about 67 meg. Right, let's get going. Programs you're going to need. Putty. This will control the Raspberry Pi from your laptop or your PC. If you've connected it to your hub and you're using a laptop, you can control it through wireless network as well. So you can put the Pi into another room and still control it. You're going to need Win32 disk imager. Again, you can download that from SourceForge. And utorrent. You're going to need your utorrent to download the image for RetroPie. Click on free download and away you go. The reason being is otherwise it takes hours to download it any other way. PetRock blog. Links will be in the description. RetroPie project and downloads. We want to do download 2.3 and the torrent one here, number 5. As I say, that's the quickest way of getting the image. Disk imager, Win32. There we go, from SourceForge. And the putty is from putty.org. There we go, this one here. As I say, and again, links will be in the description. But that's pretty much everything you need. First things first, let's put the image on the SD card. SD card in. Let's close that off and load up System32 or Win32 disk imager. Now I know my SD card is in drive E, but double check just to make sure. You never know. The last thing you want to do is go formatting a recovery or another partition of your hard drive, which you not realise it. There we go, drive E. We want to do select your image after you've unzipped it. As I say, I've already prepared and done everything. There we go. Go grab yourself a coffee or whatever. This takes a while, but I'll speed it up for you. Right, now the image is written to successful. Right, now it's all done. Click OK. The SD card is now ready. Right, first things first. If you right click, open network and sharing center. This is optional, but because I'm doing mine by my telly using a laptop, it saves rushing back, going to the hub or using a long old cable. All you do, adapt to settings. Now what I've done is, if you notice here, it's come up network bridge. All I've done is selected the Ethernet and my wireless connection. Right click and you'd have an option saying bridge. Now once you've done that, give it a few moments and this will come up green, which means once you plug the Ethernet cable in, it's running the internet to the Pi, also connection from Pi to laptop, so we can use the program Putty later on. Right, let's take the SD card up, let's power up this Raspberry Pi and let's move forward. Well, once you've loaded up guys, this is the screen that you'll come to. Current says one gamepad detected, which is the Logitech that I've got. If you hold the button down for a couple of seconds, you'll come up with this. Now just follow the instructions, up, down, left, right. I kind of treat it like the SNES pad. That's pretty much how all the emulators are. Right, with this screen, let's go back to the laptop. And load up that little program putty. And with this, what you want to do is put in the Raspberry Pi's IP address. 192.168.1.67. Once you do that, push enter. You normally come up here with an error. That pretty much say yes, no, or cancel. What you want to do is hit yes, pretty much allowing you connection from your laptop to your Pi. What you want to do, your login is Pi and your password is Raspberry. There we go. Now, as you can see, 372 meg. We want to open up the SD card and squeeze every little piece we can out of it. So what you want to do is you want to get into the settings. So it's sudo, and it's raspi-config. This will get you into the main settings here. Once you've done that, you want to expand file system. This will pretty much use every space of the memory card for RetroPie. This is choice overclock. I usually overclock to about 800. It says please be aware that overclocking may reduce the lifetime of your Raspberry Pi. I don't see any harm. It doesn't seem to heat up, if any, much more. Just as long as you don't cover it up, wrap it up, silly little things like that, I've never had a problem. As I say, that is over choice. Once you've done that, go to finish, reboot. And I'll come back, once we load up the Pi, we'll go back to putty, we'll come back to the main screen. Right, when the Raspberry Pi has all loaded up again, come back to this, put the IP address in again, 192.168.1.67. And again, it's Pi Raspberry. Now what we want to do is we want to update. As you can see, available 4.3 gig, last time 370 odd meg. Big difference, especially for ROMs. Right, now to update. First thing you want to do, you want to update. So sudo apt-get and update. I'm going to speed things up a bit, cut the video, because this doesn't take too long, but the upgrade takes forever. So when you do it, grab a coffee. Right, when that's finished and it's come to here, now time for the upgrade. This is the time to grab a coffee. Now sudo apt-get, then it's upgrade. And again, I'll come back to you when it's all done. Right, now we've come back to here. What you want to do, just give a reboot. So sudo reboot. This will reboot the Raspberry Pi. There we go. Now that'll kick back in again on my TV. What we'll do again, we wait for it to load up. Then we'll go back into the putty program. And we'll carry on, because what we've got to do now is register the controller, set a few buttons, and put the ROMs on the Pi itself. Let's close this window. Again, the same IP address, 192.168.1.67. Pi and then Raspberry. Now what we want to do, we want to go into some different settings now. So if we push ls for list, and you'll find retropie-setup. So what we're going to do is change directory, cd, a bit like DOS, but this is Linux, so capital letters is vital. Capital R. You can use tab, and that will rush it through quicker for you. Hyphen setup. And once we're in that, we want to open the retropie-setup.sh. So to do that, sudo is dot / then retropie _ setup.sh. We'll come into a completely different menu. What we want to do is go to setup and register RetroArch controller. There you go, connect only the controller to be registered with RetroArch. What you want to do is I set it up, as I say, like the SNES controller. All the emulators are pretty much programmed around that. Here we go. So what you want to do is push the buttons as they come on screen. Now I don't have analog on mine, so if you don't have enough buttons, leave it be, that will time out. Let's do it step for step. Oops, I've gone wrong there, but I'll show you how. There we go, I'm going to leave it be. For some reason it didn't like the D-pad, but we can adjust accordingly. And I will show you how to do that, because I've got to do it anyway to show you how to exit out the emulator and to load and save states. Right, now that's done, click OK. Right, let's cancel out of this. Cancel. And we'll go back to this screen. Now what we're going to do, change directory, 2 dots, goes back to the previous directory. Now if we go to ls list, the one we need to go into isn't there, it's hidden. So change directory, / opt. And if you list again, we want to go into retropie, ls, then from that emulators, and again list, then from emulators, RetroArch, cd, capital R, RetroArch, I think it's config. Yes, it is configs. CONFIGS. Right. And when you do ls, if you've noticed, you have Logitech, then obviously Precision Gamepad. We need to get into that file. So to do that, sudo meaning super user, nano meaning edit. Now, if we put the first letter in and you hit the tab button, save you typing it all, it does it for you. Hit enter. Here's the configuration screen. Now here's where we went wrong, but we can change that. So the up axle is -1. We change it to -1. And the down is +1. There we go. Then you've got -O for left and +O for right. That's done. Right. Now here's all the buttons and everything else. So everything is listed there. But what we want to do now is we want to enable a hotkey. So it's input. I just add a couple of extra lines, nothing major. Again, these will be in the description. Input underscore. Now with the spaces, a lot of it you need underscores. Enable underscore hotkey underscore button btn space equals space. Then it's a little explanation, quote marks, whatever you want to call him. Right, I'm going to pick the select button, which is button 8. Easiest way to put it, push shift and 2 for that icon. Can't remember what it's called. Enter. Now you want to put in another one, which is to exit the emulator. So you have to push the select button first before you push any other button, before you push the button for this. Input. So it's pretty much a hotkey, so you don't just exit the emulator for no reason. Underscore exit underscore emulator underscore button btn and equals. Right, now you can use start to exit, but some games like the Game Boys used to use the start, select A and B to save the game. So what we're going to do it as L2. It's entirely your choice, but because we don't really use the L2 and R2 button on any of the emulators, always handy to have them extra buttons. There we go. What we do, hit enter. There we go. Now we're going to save the states. Input, save, state. Again, using the underscore every time. btn button. Now, as I say, we can use the L1, R1. I'll tell you what we do. We'll change this one to L1, which is button 4. We'll change these ones to the L2 and R2 buttons. So again, we'll have this one as 6. And input load state. And this one is button 7. There we go. Once you've done that, I think it's called Control and push O to pretty much overwrite. Push Enter, then hold Control and push X. Back to this screen again. Right. Keeping on here, what we want to do now, let's load up some emulators. Close this off. Yes. Easy way of doing this, loading up your Internet Explorer or computer. Another way of doing it, when you click on the top, // and put in the IP address 192.168.1.67. When you hit enter, you will come up to the ROMs here. There we go. And it lists all the ROMs that you've got that can be, you know, pretty much all the emulators possible on this Raspberry Pi. A list and a half. There we go. So what we're going to do, we're going to put a few of these on. I haven't got many, but we'll do a few for test. Mega Drive, which is Sonic 2. Super Mario Brothers 3 was a NES. Down here. Super Mario Kart was a SNES. And we've got a Game Boy game, Super Mario Land. There we go. Oh, put that in the wrong one. There we go. So we're pretty much done. I'm just going to reboot. Doing it the lazy way. There we go. Tell it to kick over. and we should have a fully functional RetroPie. If you want to, if you put a USB pen drive into the Raspberry, it will come up with all the ROM files. You can then take that out, put that into your laptop, computer, PC, transfer the ROMs onto that, then put the pen drive back into the Raspberry, and it will put all them ROMs onto the card for you, so you don't have to connect to it, you know, just the way I've did. It's another way of doing it. There we go, Genesis, Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Again, using the controller. You can use the keyboard. There is some DOS games where you do use a keyboard. But there we go. Hopefully if it works alright. There we go. So what I want to do, there's my hotkey. There's my save state. So if I move along and I load, there we go. Save state again, load state. Now if I want to exit again, out we go. It's as easy as that. So if you are playing the game, obviously got to do something, you can save and go back to later. You can use site scrapers and all that to get all the information about it. Entirely up to you. There we go. Again, auto save state at the bottom right hand side. Oh, sorry, the bottom left hand side of the screen. There we go. State saved. And again, state loaded. To exit, hotkey. There we go. So that's configuring the controller, the ROMs, and RetroPie fully working. You can delete, obviously, the ROMs out the folders for stuff like the ports and that. And obviously the emulators you don't want, like Apple. But if you so wish to, yeah, you can connect the computer and the mouse and play the old DOS games and that on it. There we go.